Alright, what's up, gang? It's your boy Mikey Will here. I'm going to tell you something a little bit more about the e-bike. This is actually a 21700 cell, but for the most part, e-bikes and e-scooters are made out of 18650s because they're a little bit smaller, they can fit in a lot more spaces. But I don't know if you guys noticed, they be sucking, especially after like a couple years. Not even a couple years, I'd say a year. And there's a couple reasons for that. You guys should definitely stay tuned. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because you guys need to hear about this.
Alright, so first thing, let's hit up Google. Let's type in lithium-ion e-bike battery. Alright, so got a bunch of stuff that pops up. There's 48 volt, 52 volt, bunch of them, and they come in a bunch of different shapes and sizes. It's definitely overwhelming to the consumer. Not to say that no one's going to take the time to learn it, but it's definitely a lot, especially because no one really knows what's inside these things. Guys, the first thing you guys really want to look up is where these battery manufacturers are coming from. Learn a little bit about them, because you need to know a couple things, like what cells are in them, because not all the time more amp hours is necessarily better. They could be using really bad cells in there that they already know that they're gonna fail. Whether the BMS is gonna fail, or one of the cells is gonna drop below too low below voltage, or something ridiculous. But here, let's look up like a battery manufacturer that I like to go with. I actually ride e-bikes and stuff like that, but you guys should check out some of my other videos. But this is Ison Lithium. I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. They just make really good quality batteries, and they use really high quality cells and BMSs in them. You guys definitely need a high quality BMS, because if your BMS blows, your cells could either charge too much or discharge too much. You can either blow the battery, or you can just blow the battery on either side of it. You know what I'm saying? For the low end or the high end, you can get thermal runaway. You guys should look that up and stuff like that. There's another good battery manufacturer. They do make a bunch of batteries in a bunch of different sizes. They mainly are commonly known for Ison batteries and Super 73 batteries, but you guys do see that they have one wheels and other stuff like that on their website, because they do make a bunch of batteries in a bunch of different sizes, and they just use high quality cells. You just don't want really poopy cells in your bike, or your scooter or whatever you got going on, just because it's not worth it. So like you can just Google like eBay lithium ion batteries, and sometimes like they'll like recommend you get to like lithium polymer phosphate. That's like the lipos. Those things are booty cheeks. They are very, very tempting to buy in price because they're very low generally, but like you can see that like not necessarily like the lower. I can't believe there's a Tesla battery up there. That is definitely fake or blown out, or something's wrong with that. That should not be that cheap. But yeah, and like it's just, you just really want higher quality cells, you know what I'm saying? And that makes the complete like difference in how long your battery will last. And there's other techniques to save your battery too. Don't ever let your battery go down to zero ever, just because it's not healthy for the battery at all. This is like a site that I use that I actually build batteries off of. And some people ask like what kind of batteries that they use. They're 18650 batteries, 21700 batteries, a bunch of stuff like that. But like you see the good quality cells, usually like Samsung, Panasonic, LG, Molicel. There's like a bunch of good stuff up there, and they come in a bunch of different sizes and shapes. The button tops or the flatheads, or like whatever you need to use a battery for. But like you guys can see that there's like other ones, like the EVE batteries. Like there it is. They are really cheap for a reason. These things are more commonly used in your typical scooters and your typical e-bikes. How do you think some of these batteries are so cheap, and how like they make these things so cheap? They're using these really cheap cells that they know will probably destroy themselves in a matter of, I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year. And this is why it's so common that everyone's running into these problems with their e-bikes and their scooters, and that's not fair to the consumer. And I'm not like preaching to anybody, like saying like, oh, come buy my batteries. I actually do like make my own batteries. It's just like, just be aware of what you're getting. Like, these are the BMSs that they're using. They are very cheap and they're very easy to break. Let's say you drop it, your battery, in any shape or form, or you drop your bike, your scooter, something just jiggles loose. There's like obviously expensive BMSs, the BMSs that I use, but I also have 72 volt batteries, so it does get a little bit more hectic. So you do need a little bit more quality, especially with higher voltage kind of stuff. Quality. Most of the time with these BMSs, you'll obviously not know this, but most of the time they're like smart BMSs. You'll usually be able to connect to an app, or it'll have an LCD. You'll be able to recognize what voltage it's at. It'll usually have like a little battery meter. Somehow it's integrated all together, whether it's through an app or literally just through the voltmeter itself. It'll just have like more small amenities that the ones on Amazon and AliExpress, even though these are on AliExpress as well, you can just tell a $4 or a $10 BMS compared to a $50 or a $100 BMS. And they do make 12 volt $100 BMSs. They have them all. Like, the BMSs come in all shapes and sizes, and they get hectic. And these are the reasons that your e-bike, your scooter, that's why like all these fires in New York City and everywhere else keep happening, because these little BMSs mixed with bad cells are like turning into what we have now. There's a lot of bad negativity going around, even though it could all be avoided just by doing just the basic things, just by just checking where you guys get your batteries from. And let's look at some other ones. The other one was an Ant BMS. This one's actually a daily BMS. I've used these once or twice. Haven't had any real problems with them. The only problem I could say is their size. They are a little bit more chunky than the average BMS. And you guys would never even know one of these things is in your battery, because this is what helps you charge it. And hence, the scooter fires and the e-bike fires, people just leaving them charging. The BMS blows or a cell blows, it overcharges it, and next thing you know, it's just charging to 4.5, sometimes even 5 volts, and it'll just explode. And next thing you know, you have this little tiny baby bomb just going off in the apartment complex. People in the middle of the night, because they just charge it. They think it's like a cell phone. It's not a cell phone, guys. A cell phone has a 3.7 volt battery, one singular one. These batteries have multiple cells all put together, and and I don't want to hear everyone's like, oh man, these scooters ain't the way. It's because they catch on fire. I'm like, have you guys ever seen a dirt bike or one of those go-peds or even a moped on fire? It happens all the time. These EVs catch on fire, but how many times have you guys seen a diesel truck or anything else on fire? Ford, Dodge, anything, you know what I'm saying? How many times have you seen lawnmowers on fire? No one just reports it, because they just normal people just doing their thing. Oh, it caught on fire. They're not going to social media to straight be like, oh, it caught on fire. I can't wait to put out this negative publicity. It's not cool. Well, I want to thank you guys for everything. Make sure you hit that subscribe, like, and comment button. We got more content coming soon. Peace.